Hello and welcome to the Quantum Quadcast right here on 88.7 KIGC. We're going to get into our in-depth, or should I say, mega review of Jurassic World. And before we get too carried away, let's introduce our quad, or should I say Cinco casters, because we got an extra person in the studio. And let's introduce them right now. Right next to me is
Mason Schrader.
And next to him is
Kurt Sodak.
And in the studio controlling every single thing is
NickGuyHarris.
And
Shannon Farrier.
And as for myself, I am Johnny P. And before we get into this mega review, we're just going to do one quick question on what we thought about the reasons why we think that Jurassic World had such a huge box office. I'm pretty sure it's number one of all time right now so far. Am I wrong
yes,
about
it
that?
is. Their initial estimates were about 100 or 204 million, so it was number two. But somewhere they found an extra $4 million. Apparently, the reports were still coming in, and it ended up taking number one over the Avengers, the first Avengers. So huge opening for this movie. I mean, it was estimated to make 125 million. It made almost 100 million more than their estimates, and this is something they've got almost down to a science at this point. So I think it's pretty crazy that happened. I wanted to take a couple minutes here before we start the review to talk about what does everybody think. Does anybody have any opinions on? I've seen a lot of different people online and people I know telling me, you know, this is why it happened. So I kind of wanted to air that out now. Like, anybody have any ideas or any thoughts on why this movie just exploded so huge?
I just have a simple one, just saying, like, you know, the first one came out in '93. You know, and the last one was, you know, so, I mean, you're bringing in different generations, you know, kids as kids and parents and stuff like that. And dinosaurs just sell well. And plus, a lot of advertisement was going on. I don't know if anybody's got cable, but there's a lot of, like, Lego commercials of Jurassic World and Park Together. And then, of course, you know, the trailers playing.
Yeah, so advertising and just
like
multi-generational
I think
audiences, you're thinking?
I felt like there was more advertisements on Jurassic World than Avengers. I don't have a stat to prove that, though.
I think that was kind of the big thing, is just, the multi-generational, because you got to think of the kids in the 90s are now either adults or parents, and they're bringing their kids and themselves, and then, you know, to this movie. So, I mean, you're like quadrupling the people that are going to see this movie. And also, it's dinosaurs. Like, what kid does not like dinosaurs? I mean, I guess that was kind of the thing surprising to me, was I'm surprised that people still like dinosaurs. I thought that was kind of an old hat kind of thing. But apparently they are, you know, they're making a comeback. So,
well, Mason, what you have any thoughts on it? I mean, you're a bit younger than I am, so you might have a different perspective than I have. I'm kind of curious, because I've got an idea, but I wanted to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, speaking from the hip-hop era,
I
don't know, I would just say, it's at a perfect point in time where all the adults, all the people that loved it as a kid, they're just having their kids, they're just old enough, you know, to see this movie. It was such a big picture. It had so much shoved into it that it was just perfect for everyone.
It's just like kid fodder.
It was
kid fodder. That doesn't sound right.
Kid
Sorry, not kid fodder.
Shannon, what are your thoughts,
candy,
Shannon? You have any different take than what these guys have already come up with? Or
No, I kind of agree with the multi-generational. I think it's, you know, you're bringing back the glory days, the original Jurassic Park, but this time you've got, you know, better graphics, better CGI, bigger actors. Like, you've got all of the, you know, everything that's built up with all the other ones. It's drawn all of these different people there. It's just, you know, you're reliving the glory days of dinosaurs.
I would say all the same thing. I think the one key that people
Plus
I don't
Chris
think
Pratt.
I haven't. I think Chris
Yeah.
Pratt's a big key on this too, because that's a good point I hadn't thought about, that the other ones don't have a hot marketable star like that's fresh. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the cast of the first movie, but none of them were coming off of like huge hits or like a huge career surge. So I think that could probably help. But I think what people haven't factored in is the like nostalgic factor of this movie, and that the kids today, and this is kind of what I was wondering from Mason being in high school or whatever, is. Well, I guess, and you guys aren't that far off from, but you guys grew up kind of idolizing this movie, I think, a little bit. I mean, I've heard, I don't know.
Like Jurassic,
I know I've heard
the
from
Jurassic Park.
John and Kurt have both, like, this is a key movie of being a child. maybe in the same way that when I grew up, I watched, the Indiana Jones and the Star Wars, the original Star Wars movies were just movies that I don't even remember the first time I watched them.
Yeah.
And I know I've had people, and that was strange to me the first time I heard that about 10 years ago when a younger kid was like, oh, well, this is a classic movie, and I thought, well, not really, because it's not from one of the movies when I was younger.
It's still weird. No, I'm with you because it's still weird to think that Jurassic Park is what, almost 20 years old now.
Plus,
Like
20 plus.
Yeah, like that
plus,
to me is still surprising. Like I feel like that movie is. I mean, it's iconic.
And I guess for me, being older, when I saw it, I was like, it's all right, but, it's not Spielberg's best. I mean, the Raiders of the Lost Ark kills this movie or something, where I think there's maybe a whole other generation that's like, Raiders what? And like, no.
They don't know what that is.
Jurassic Park,
They don't understand the melting face
So maybe there's that difference. I think that may be a big key thing is that, there's, at least that's what I'm guessing, is there's a younger generation that kind of views this movie as
iconic.
Their iconic childhood movie that they grew up watching. So
I don't think that's
everybody's probably from that generation besides me on this show. So
do you think it's gonna double its profit next weekend or not?
Double its profit? No. It'll drop around probably 55-60%.
Do you think it's gonna hit $1 billion at all? Or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think it's already at $500 million in 3 days. So who knows what it's at right now after 2 more days? But I think easily because it's got pretty good scores. Critical scores and audience scores, so word of mouth will definitely factor in. But let's jump into our review here.
The mega review.
So we don't go too long on numbers, but so let's go around the room and talk to everybody a little bit. I'd like to get perspectives on just kind of your reaction to the movie, how you felt about it, and just overall what your experience with the film was. So let's start with Mason, since you're our guest on the show this week. Welcome to the show, by the way.
Yes, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's can we get your perspective kind of on what you thought and how you felt about this movie?
I didn't like it.
And moving on now.
No, I mean, I don't know. I get why so many people enjoyed it, but to me, it was way too cliche. It was way too kind of watered down by product placement. I don't think it was.
Jimmy Buffett was in the movie, man.
You didn't think the first movie was, though?
No, it was, but I don't know. I think the first movie kind of made up for it with its kind of revolutionary, special effects. They really showed off. It stood out. But this one I feel like it could have been anything by any other name and still would have probably done about where it was. I mean, it could have been like Dinosaur World or Dinosaur Park, and it still would have been like, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. What was it? So you just thought it was kind of commercialized then, or felt it was a bit?
I feel like, and there's no problem with a movie being commercialized as long as it seems like the people who making it cared enough about it. But to me, the cliches were just ridiculous for me. I couldn't. Every time I was just like, of course that character is gonna do that.
Yeah, do you have a specific one or anything like that you can think of, like an example?
Does that ever not happen in a movie, though?
Yeah.
Oh, this character's going to make a bad decision.
2 kids.
Hold on to your butts.
The four main ones, the 2 kids especially, the one kid is, he's a nerd, he's really good with numbers, he's a genius, but of course...
Out of nowhere, actually.
But but of course, he can't talk to people. He can't function without his brother being next to him. And the brother's like, oh, I'm too cool for my little brother. I'm just trying to get girls in this thing. Oh, whatever. And then, like, of course, their parents are getting divorced. Like, obviously, that has to happen, or otherwise the kid wouldn't cry out of nowhere. Like on the train, he's like, oh, I'm going to cry now. And then they got off the train. He's like, I'm fine. And then Chris Pratt's character was, oh, I'm good-hearted. Oh, look at me. I work on old motorcycles in my humble little house, even though everyone likes me. And
how big of a fan are you of the original?
I like it. I respect it for what it did for cinema, for special effects, but I don't. I never really watched it a whole lot. I respect it for what it did, for what it changed. That's for sure.
All right. Well, let's move over to Kurt. Kind of what were your feelings going into this movie, and what did you think of the film overall?
Like you said, being kind of like a childhood iconic film for me, it was pretty interesting to see how I was going to react. I really was wanting to see it a lot. When I left the theater, as I told you guys, I didn't really know how I felt about it right away. And it took me until, like, last night, early this morning, until I finally decided that I liked it.
Did you watch it yesterday?
No, I've only...
It wasn't like you went to it Friday Friday night and been stewing on it this whole time, have you? I hope
I went to it Sunday, and I decided I liked it yesterday morning.
a bit of processing time.
Yeah,
I take it. Okay,
it
fair
was
enough.
when
Yeah,
I,
why the long gestation period?
I still don't quite
You
know.
had to chew on it a little bit.
I
man.
honestly,
it was a bit of a greasy,
it
or
was-
grizzly, a piece of meat right there.
well,
okay?
when we
So,
left the
come on.
theater, my stepdad and my mom were talking about how it wasn't as cracked up as they thought it was going to be, and that kind of sat with me a little bit. And I just sat there and I thought, I was like, you know what? I'm sitting there weighing what I liked versus what I didn't like, and then eventually at some point I was like, okay, the things that I
don't know what to
like
make of
outtrump the things I don't like, and a lot of the things I didn't like was more of a far-fetched, out of this world type thing, and I'm like, wait, this is Jurassic Park. There's no dinosaurs. So, I mean, when I put
So
some logic
you
to it,
didn't like that it had dinosaurs? Or you liked
no,
that it
I'm
did?
saying that the fact that I was kind of like saying I didn't like some of the
Clarify
far-fetched
your
things.
thoughts, please.
Well, like I don't want to spoil anything, but
He forgot that dinosaurs weren't real.
Well, that too.
But I would think that'd be a sign that the movie's awesome.
Yeah,
if
like,
you come
come
out
on,
of that
Kurt.
movie like,
Well,
holy crap,
a
I'm
couple of
scared
the-
of dinosaurs
I
right now.
haven't
A couple of
seen
things
A
on
dinosaurs
that-
velociraptor could literally attack me
You guys
right
make
now
fun of
before
me
I
for
go
the
to my
things
car.
I had problem with in the film. Like for example, like
I'm
the
just-
Jeep,
I'm just-
the original
I'm
Jeep, they
backing
got
you
that
up.
to start. The two kids got that to start and
Yep.
roll after the gas had been sitting
So
there
you
for
liked it
20
'cause it had a
years.
Jeep.
So that's far fetched. But then again, I'm like, hey, dinosaurs are this is far fetched. And another thing is I had no idea that the parents were getting divorced. Like that was like thrown upon me all of a sudden. I'm like, what? Okay, so that's why you guys are all messed up. All right, okay.
Sadness. Bam.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
you liked it or you didn't like it? Would
I
that
liked
fall-
it.
You did like it, though. Okay.
It had divorce.
Okay.
It had Jeeps. It had. I didn't know why there's dinosaurs.
And another
in it.
thing,
That's why I
and
liked
one
it, of
more
course.
thing I didn't like. And see, that's what I'm saying. I had so many things I didn't like, so many things I liked, but I eventually decided I liked the film. Another thing was like when we went to the old park, like all that expensive stuff they shipped to get there, like to build that park, they just totally built over it,
Yep.
Unrealistic. I mean, you're going to use some of that old facilities. So, I mean, this is the kind of things I nitpicked at. So if that tells you anything.
No. I think we'll get into all that stuff too. I think you're bringing up some decent points, though, Kurt, that we will definitely dive into. But I was more just going towards like, what's your overall reaction?
Oh, yeah.
Before we get too deep, I know you're
Well, that's
passionate
what-
about the
the
movie,
Jeeps
so you
and
you
divorce.
want to get into it and everything. But it sounds like you enjoyed it, though. You liked the movie,
Yeah.
and you had a good time watching it. Did it take
For
you
sure.
back? Like specifically, I guess what I'm going to be interested. I don't know about everybody else, but allow me to take over the show for a
Oh,
minute.
please
No,
do.
yeah. Go ahead.
This is your turn, Nick. What did you like about
did
it?
it recapture the magic of the first one for you?
No, but I will say I felt this had better tension.
Better tension.
Yeah,
Okay.
but-
all right.
But
Excuse me, there were no water rings. What are you talking about? No.
okay, you're right, but you can't redo that.
You caught him off guard,
you
Shannon.
Well,
can't
let's
redo
not
that.
get too deep into it yet, guys. Just overall feelings of the movie
We haven't told
before we start like choking each other.
Still
on
three
this, but-
people that haven't expressed.
All
their
right. Well,
feelings.
let's jump over to Johnny
Hey,
and
Hey, John.
why'd I do that? I don't know.
how did you feel about the movie? And just to walk us through your experience watching it. And I'm probably watching it first, and then second, and third, and fourth, and fifth time. However many times.
Only
you
twice.
watched
I'll
it
probably see it again this next
thus
weekend,
far
but
this
it's okay.
week, but go ahead.
I loved it, so obviously. But there was three things. I came into this movie expecting three things, and I'll reveal those throughout when we're talking about the movie. But there were three things in this movie that I
Please
came
keep
in.
us on the edge of our seat.
Yes. I don't want to spoil stuff. There's some things that were part of the spoiler zone. Okay, so
Okay. Yeah.
but
I'm just
anyway.
giving you crap. Go ahead.
But there were three things I came in expecting this movie, and it delivered on them. So I was super excited for that. And I mean, did the movie have some problems? Yeah. I mean, there's some things that I've thought about over the movie, like compared to the very first one. The first one did a lot better than this one. But there were, like I said, I had three things coming into this movie that it met all those three things, and it kind of just wiped away just some of the garbage that was in this movie.
The three secret things, right?
Three
I
secret
bet I
things.
know the three things.
Three secret
I
things.
like that you're keeping us
Yeah.
like something.
I would like.
for-
I would like.
Unless you
to-
really want me
Related.
to just like blow my wad
No,
right
no,
now,
no,
I
no,
can't.
no.
I would like to-
I just like giving you a hard time.
I would like to crack at it before. I think I have fun with this one. Go ahead. I think I would. I'm writing it down right
It's
now.
okay.
All right,
It's
before we
Kurt.
get too far into this, Shannon, why don't you tell us a little bit about your feelings of the Jurassic Park series and like how you were anticipating this one, or if it was a big childhood movie or anything, and then kind of what your experience was like.
how many questions do you want me
I
to
would
answer?
like to. Yes, sorry. Just
7 questions? Was
let's
how
break
many
that down
were-
to just talk about your experience watching it and how you felt. I think the rest of those
Yeah.
questions will just naturally come out.
Fair enough. I hope so.
I overtalk when I'm nervous.
Don't panic. Don't panic. I hate that sound. Hate that sound.
It's a puke sound. It's okay.
No, I mean I did grow up watching Jurassic Park. I remember it terrified me as a kid, like the Jurassic or the
Yeah.
Velociraptors
Oh
in the
my
kitchen
gosh.
scene, like
Yeah.
terrified me. So the second and third ones I was okay with, and I kind of had a renewed interest in it in high school. We had to watch it for some biology class. We were studying DNA or something like that, and our teacher had us study it. And I watched it again. I was like, "This movie's still freaking awesome! Like, I still love it. They're still
Yeah,
terrifying."
it's odd because in a science class in high school we had to watch it, and the teacher measured the length between the steps. I forget how he did it. He found a way to measure the lengths of the steps on the T-Rex as it's chasing the Jeep.
Yeah.
And then we measured that versus the shot of the speedometer, and it's actually taking steps at the right rate
Oh, that's
to
so
go
cool.
45 miles an hour. It's crazy.
We
Anyway,
didn't get that. In
We have a
that.
T-Rex.
I recall we had a question that involved what the brand of the shaving cream that he smuggled the
Oh, I
little
know it.
chains out in.
Barbasol.
So,
Barbasol.
Yeah, that's correct. You
And-
get the points.
And also,
Ooh.
they have special edition Barbasol. Why? Because I have some in my bathroom. It's got a. I forget
Oh my
it.
God,
Too
we're
personal.
done. Let's
Too
Jen, carry
personal.
on.
Thank you
personal.
for that.
Carry on,
I
Sean.
I'm
can't
glad.
talk about my shaving cream.
Sorry.
But keep walking us through it, Shannon. Sorry
yeah,
to
so I,
distract.
I grew up, like I said, love the original. The second one, third one kind of pulled me back in because it brought back Sam. I can't
Sam
think of his
Neill.
name.
Sam Neill, yeah. Dr. Grant.
So this
Kurt's
one,
favorite.
Yep.
I was really stoked for it. So excited for it. Jurassic Park plus Chris Pratt, who I'm in love with right now. Like, I just thought, how can it get better?
Mason is just
Yeah.
biting his tongue right now. We'll get into
Yeah,
that later.
And then he's, Chris Pratt really isn't in it that much. He's not that great when he is in it. There's just so much to it that was disappointing. The first hour and 40 minutes, I was just like, I'm done. I don't like it. And then the last 20
Wow.
minutes, I was like, we're back in the game. But not actually for, it's a great movie. I liked
Yeah.
it. It was just the absurdity factor at that point. I was
Oh
just
my
like,
gosh, yes.
What?
Yeah.
What? Nobody's here to talk to you about it.
So kind of an
Just
up
me.
and down ride for you then.
No, mostly down.
Mostly
Mostly
down.
down, yeah.
Okay. Well, I kind of had, I think, a similar reaction to it as you did, or experience with it as you did. See, for me, Jurassic Park 1, it just was not a defining part of my younger movie watching years. It actually does a lot of things that I don't like, I guess. Well, as a kid growing up with 80s action movies, I like gunfights, I like fight scenes, I
Yeah.
like car chases, I like violence and adult situations, okay? Whether that be
In
whatever
very
your
coarse
imagination wants to
language.
be.
The whole
So
warning
basically,
label.
Under Siege.
Under Siege,
summarizes-
yes.
Yeah.
So when I go into a lot of times I have a hard time going into movies,
We
for an
grew up
example.
on very different types of action movies, though. I had
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles and Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no,
Die
no.
Hard.
No, but
different.
at least Ninja Turtles has fight scenes, so I can relate to that.
Well, this Jurassic Park had fight
You
scenes.
can relate
But,
to those characters, yeah.
can
No,
relate to
everyone knows, yeah.
So I didn't hate it. It was never one of those key movies. That's why it was weird to me later in life when I was in film school. A younger kid, brought that up in class one day, saying this movie is just iconic, obviously. And everybody just shook their head, and I'm like, oh, I must be the old guy in the room because I don't know what the hell they're talking
Did you
about.
just say
Was.
no?
Well, I was, yeah. I was, so
Shake
anyway,
your fist, these kids these days.
yeah. So I
with
didn't
their
have
film
that.
choices.
That whole background going into it. So I rather enjoyed this movie. I think the first third of the movie has a really charming spirit to it. All the characters are kind of warm and inviting. I really enjoyed getting to know them. Unfortunately, most of that's ruined in the second third of the movie.
Yeah.
But like you said, Shannon, I think it comes back. At least it did for me. It came back around. And kind of redeemed itself in the end, but there's again, I'll get being the action guy. I like to get into the action sequences, what I think we can tackle here in a minute once I'm done. But overall, I thought it was a fun experience, and it did kind of, surprisingly take me back to when I was younger and watching the first Jurassic Park, and kind of, I think a lot of that had to do with probably with the music being
Oh, yeah.
reminiscent.
Yeah.
Every time they cut back to the classic score, I think it was a different guy, Michael.
Yeah, it
anybody know
wasn't-
how
it
to say
wasn't
his
John
last
Williams.
name?
Fassbender. I'm
No,
just kidding.
Michael Giordano or I don't know. I'm
No
butchering
idea.
it. He
Keanu
did.
Reeves.
He does most of J.J. Abrams movies and stuff, the Star Trek films.
Oh, okay.
But so I had a good time with it. I kind of enjoyed it, but I do have some. I just have some specific gripes with the middle of this film, and specifically with the heroine of this film, who is just an absolute monster. I'm sorry, am I the only one that got this? But maybe we can
Bryce
kick it
Dallas
off.
Howard?
Yeah, maybe we can kick it off there and kind
How
of
do you- yeah,
talk a
yeah, I was
little
about to
bit
say.
about what I thought was like a horrifying point in this film, where she, in the middle of the film, there's a point where she has to make a decision whether to evacuate the island or not, and she doesn't, which leads to a scene later to me. I'm not going to spoil it here,
Yeah.
but I found quite disturbing, where, I guess I can say there was an attack on the park, and she's directly responsible, and we never justify that at all in the movie.
Well, it's
Does anybody
kind of-
else kind of pick up on that, or is that just me
Yeah,
watching
because-
people get murdered and she's directly
She's a
responsible
terrible
for this?
person.
Oh, she is. Well, that's
She is.
what made me like. What kind of I wouldn't say like the character, but feel a little bit different about the character was. She reminded me of the way John Hammond was supposed to be. Like in the Jurassic Park book, John Hammond's a horrible person. Like he's not the nice grandpa person that's in the movie that we see today. Like he's just this person that no, we're going to get as much money as we can from these people. Like all the safety measures are fine. We don't need to fix anything. And she seemed to come off as how the original incarnation of John Hammond was supposed to be, where she.
Yeah, that's great. But he was a side character. She is the hero.
She is
of
the
this
hero,
film.
yes.
Yeah, basically the star. Kind of. We can argue about Pratt, but.
But she was, because she was kind of the main. She was the main heroine, because that was some of the reviews I read before I watched the movie, and watching the film, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's kind of the main. She's the main character, and they're kind of justify. They don't really justify her character. She just does what she does, and then towards the end, it's just why isn't she going to jail? This is all her fault. Why didn't any dinosaurs eat her? What's the
Well-
point of this?
That's kind of how I felt. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It says, what you have written down here is she the antagonist or protagonist. To me, it's kind of like saying, can a board be the antagonist or protagonist if it fell over and hit a button and released the dinosaurs? Is the board the problem? I don't know. It just feels like.
Are you saying the character was flat?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I don't feel that. I think she had plenty of personality.
Really?
And there was even, there was some controversy over that because Joss Whedon had made a statement about, of course, the woman they're going to make into the Ice Queen because she kind of
Yeah.
was that way in the preview.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was surprising in the movie that they had just cut out the Ice Queen moments. Or not even, they weren't even moments of her being an Ice Queen. She was actually kind of, the sweet person.
Yeah.
She's a nice lady.
Yeah, she had feelings and stuff like that too, but then the preview they don't play that off at all. But I don't know. I didn't feel that, but you,
Well, I thought-
Mason, you
I
felt
don't know.
there wasn't much character
Well,
there.
I don't know. Again, it's just that she was the person. Oh, I have only time for business. Should I get a husband? Nope, business. Should I have kids? Nope, I'm doing business
I have
stuff.
nephews.
I'm a business lady. Oh, my nephews are coming though, but do I have time to hang out with them? Should I go get dinner with them tonight? Nope, because I'm doing business. She's just always business. And then, okay, I want to point this out.
Yep.
Did she
Point it
ran in high heels the whole
That's why she's the heroine, my
movie.
man. That's why she's the heroine.
I've got
okay.
a point about that once we get to
Okay,
the
and I mean,
spoilers.
maybe
I
it
have a
wasn't.
really
Maybe
good
it's
point
not as
about
hard
that.
as I thought so. But okay, she was they
You've
were
been running high heels a lot? Is that?
Yeah, I was like, I can't do it. But Chris Pratt
why
was
it's
like,
women
you
hear
can
me
go
war,
or
man.
you can stay, and she's like, just. Gets her blouse all down and rolls up her sleeve, and she's like, "Let's do this." And then,
In her defense, she is the owner of a dinosaur park.
She's not the owner.
That's
She's not the owner.
she
She's a facilitator.
then she just-
Facilitator.
then
Morsani
she
was the
just-
owner.
But doesn't no one points out? They're like, "Oh, maybe you should fix your shoes. Break the heel off. You're gonna sprint,
Idiot.
down these in
Did she
outside."
pull it off though? That's my question.
No,
Yeah,
she didn't, because
she
later-
sprinted from a dinosaur in heels.
But later on, she's walking down the hallway, again, all business-like, of course, and she's got the heels on again. And I was like, how, why? Is that?
Yeah, I think they specifically make a point in the he
Yeah,
says
Chris
to her
says-
you can't run in those
yeah,
shoes.
Chris said you're not going to
and
get
then
fond of
she,
shoes.
in response to that, ties her shirt up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it just shows some cleavage, and
And then
he's
Chris
like,
was like, fair enough, all right.
Oh, movies, okay.
Shoes, what were we talking about?
And then
Let's
all
go
of a
catch
sudden,
a
she
dinosaur.
does nothing with the shoes. And then they just go running, like, oh, I guess you're going to walk through the mud in high heels. Okay.
Boobs, you're right. Dinosaurs won't win. Let's go catch them. You can find these kids. Let's get them.
I didn't even, I guess I didn't realize that when I was watching it. I didn't think about it till now. Thanks, Mason, for ruining this shit.
No problem.
But,
that's what I'm here for. Professional hipster Mason Schrader. Call if you want a poor negative opinion on something.
I'm glad you said poor because
any responses to John? Any responses to these problems? Since I think you're going to be our probably biggest fan of this movie going into it. I'm just guessing, just taking a shot in the dark. So don't look at me with that deer in headlights look.
Yeah, no. I have problems to what now? Like, are you talking about Bryce Dallas Howard's
anything
character,
that we're bringing up, or I mean more about
no,
Bryce.
because no,
she was justified in murdering half the island.
No, I honestly
You take that risk. You
That's a
take
loaded
that
question.
risk going to that park. Come on.
It happened once already.
Part of me is like,
Yeah.
Part of me wants to know:
It's got a history.
Is there a waiver that they sign before they come to this park, like, or is it just an admission thing? Because like my thought is like,
it's just he's just riled up right now.
because her character, I agree with you guys because like I said, there were some problems in the film for me, but like that was one of the things where I'm like, she's a horrible person. Like, why is she being touted as this heroine all of a sudden? And then and there's really no kind of penalty for her at the end because I mean, there's towards the end of the movie, she's kind of just saves the day. I'm just like, what? Maybe that was her like redemption aspect to her, like being such a horrible person, killing probably like 30, like a population, like a large populace of the island.
Right.
But she like adds one. I won't spoil it, but she adds like one aspect to the film that will like, hey, we're gonna save the day, and then it's like, oh well, I guess her character is redeemed, but.
Her
really?
punishment is
I think
dating Chris Pratt for the rest of her life.
There you go.
They gotta survive, man.
That's her punishment.
They
We
gotta
just
survive.
Shannon, is that a punishment in any way, shape, or form? I'm straight, and I think I would go for that punishment. Sorry.
You would.
I miss
It's
fat.
Star-Lord, man.
I miss fat Chris Pratt. I don't like skinny Chris Pratt. I miss
Okay,
fat Chris Pratt.
I think I can follow along with that.
I think with the antagonist saying, if you ask me who I think the antagonist is, I think it's the scientist from the first movie, the only original first
B.D.
character.
Wong.
Yeah. I think he is being able to create these type of things, and then you
What
see them
things?
trying to run off at dinosaurs.
Jeeps or divorce?
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
he didn't create the Jeeps, okay?
But
We'll
the
get to that
divorce
point in a
is-
minute.
With
Let me cover
dinosaurs.
this one. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, you
Keep
know how
going.
he if you guys see, he survives. He gets away with whatever
Wait,
he's been working
hey,
on.
watch the spoilers there.
Oh,
You're off. Get off
Let's
the show.
actually-
Kurt,
honestly,
Kurt, let's do this. Let's come back to that point, and let's jump into a different point. We'll come back to that in spoilers, because I think you got a good point there. And
Write that
this
down.
is a subtle thing that I didn't notice until I went back and watched the first movie, that, B.D. Wong is
Oh, yeah,
in the
the
first
original.
movie.
Yeah, he is.
I'm
Yeah,
watching it. I
My
rented
God,
it
you
right
didn't know
after.
that? He came
No!
on and I was just like,
It's
boom,
like, where
B.D.
did
Wong's back.
I know?
Yeah.
I'm like, where did they dig B.D. Wong out? And then later the next day, I rented Jurassic Park, the original, and I'm like, oh, B.D. Wong's in it. That's
Yeah,
such
yeah,
a cool connection.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was the most obvious callback right there.
Yeah.
It's just like he shows up and you're just like, B.D. Wong is still alive.
I'm sure the
here?
whole audience.
That was-
I
I thought that
heard
was-
people screaming out like, "B.D. Wong!"
I thought he was in the trailer though. Like he was.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I
sure he
think
was in
he
the trailer.
was.
Okay.
Well,
Really?
I
missed that part.
Yeah, I remember
think
because he
he
said
was.
something about like she's faster than the T-Rex, and I'm like, oh, dude, it's the dude from the first one. Like that's what I did, and then
See, I didn't know that. Like, I was too young to remember B.D. Wong was in the first one. So when I first saw it, I was like, "Is that George Takei?" Nope, it's not George Takei. And then I was like, "I don't care anymore."
racist. You
I'm
racist.
racist.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
I
like,
was
"Move
joking.
on." It's
All
not
right,
George
well,
Takei.
let's
Move on.
let's jump to another point I want to talk about the directors. Do you guys feel, Kurt? Let's start with you on this kind of. Do you feel like Colin? Anybody know how to spell it?
Trevorrow.
I'm tearing up
Trevorrow.
everybody's name on
Colin
this.
Trevorrow.
Is a suitable replacement for Spielberg?
No.
That's
Loaded question.
That is a loaded question. Not
No,
really.
it's
That's
not.
big shoes to
I
fill.
mean,
What
it's
else
kind
is
of an
he done?
unfair
will-
comparison.
I
I
don't even know
will
what else he's
say,
done.
I think where the film lacked was script. I think maybe direction too, but I feel like it lacked in script.
I could probably get behind that. He's done a movie called. Oh, no, I just forgot the name
It's
of the
something
movie.
about like
I don't
some
remember
guy puts an
any of
ad
this.
out in the
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
paper
his-
for a time machine or
Seeking
whatever.
a friend
Yeah.
safety not guaranteed.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you.
See, I love that one.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think I
don't
thought he
put-
was a
why
good
would you
pick.
put him on this level though? From that, go from that drama
I don't know.
to Jurassic
Because
Park.
it's kind of got a sci-fi element to it, and it's
Yeah.
a character piece.
But
And
this is
I,
like a
I think
heavy-
he was a good pick. I think Kurt might have a point in that I think it's a script issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe he could have brought a little more. I don't know. We can probably get into that as well because I think I don't think a lot of the action in this movie was staged anywhere close to what's always made the Jurassic Park series good. I think are these claustrophobic kind of different layered, very meticulous action set pieces that are laid out in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like the original T-Rex attack. It's happening on so many fronts. There's two different cars. The T-Rex is trying to get the kids in the car. There's a kid under it. There's the guys outside of it. They're climbing down a wall.
Truck over a cliff
Guys
in a
getting
tree.
eaten back
Yes.
here on a toilet. You know, Goldblum's running around.
Don't know what he's doing, just
like,
Just doing
flinging
this, running
flares
around.
in the air.
And for like 10 minutes, it's just really intense, very meticulously scripted out
Yeah.
action sequence that has multiple layers to it and just keeps going to the point that they get to the floor. They got to climb up the tree and get Timmy. It's coming down the tree. The car falls out of the
man.
tree. There's like so many different layers to
watch
this
the first one
action
again.
sequence. And all the action sequences in that first movie are a lot like that. This one are nothing
Didn't have a
like that.
sequence.
No,
Well,
there is.
'cause-
Here, let me. I'm sorry, not Kurt. Going back, there is a. I've got a picture of it here. This scene. So they're driving around this little bubble car,
Yeah.
and this
GSV.
kind of, the first movie we get that scene I just described. This movie, they roll underneath the Indominus Rex in this little bubble. It pokes its fingernail through it. They crawl out and run away from the dinosaur. Action sequence over.
Yeah.
Right, so I think that's where I was a little disappointed, and none of this really hit me until later in the film when or later when I was watching the first movie. I think is when I realized that these action sequences aren't quite as good. I felt
These
it
were
while
kinda
watching,
made into
but
a joke almost. I thought like they, I mean, we'll get into it, but involving the helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that was all kind of a joke. It's like, oh, we've got these great action sequences, and then it's kind of going to be like, meh, meh. Like, that's all it was.
explain. I
to me.
don't get you. What like
Well,
when
without
he
spoiling it, I can't,
Oh, okay.
really get
Okay.
into it at the
Yep,
moment.
yep,
but
yep.
they get in the helicopter. We're here to save the day, and then
Oh, okay.
this
It just
happens,
it
and it's
doesn't
like,
go anywhere
that's
really.
Kind of, yeah, they're all just kind of like a joke. Like we're gonna set up all this stuff, and
Yeah.
then it's gonna be like, oh, we're gonna go on this chase. We're out of gas, like
Well,
kind of equivalent thing,
yeah.
I
I agree. Not Kurt. John, do you feel like there was a point in this movie that recaptured? I mean, what was your favorite action sequence in the movie? I guess. Can you talk about that without spoiling things?
Not
or-
really. No.
So probably
Nobody
the
can.
the
No, I was
Nobody
gonna say
can.
like
thinking.
when we start talking about
Awesome.
action sequences, we're talking about spoiling because there's like kind of teases in the trailer, but like if we're gonna go into detail, we're gonna spoil it. So, but I will talk about kind of like one
well,
of
only the last action sequence is really
Well,
the only spoiler. I
That's
mean,
the only
there's
true
the
action
there's the
sequence
raptor
there.
Yeah.
hunt. There's the
I guess okay. I'll
the
go back to that.
Indominus
I'll go back.
attack.
I'll talk
There's-
about. I think one of the things like, and this is like one of the three things that this movie did for me that made me like it was.
Oh, darn it. I had mine 3 written down here. See if I'm
um,
right.
This is one of them.
Was
and
it
that
boobs? Was it like Chris Pratt's boobs
Like,
thing?
the
It was.
anticipation,
I
It
knew
was.
it.
How
It
did
was
you
gonna
know?
be like
No,
Chris Pratt, take the shoes off. Boobs? Ah, we're done.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead,
like-
let's go
that's
ahead.
exactly-
Move
no,
on.
no,
We're fine.
is that this movie would like realize that it's not Jurassic Park and that they would kind of change that, which I thought the theme of this movie really changed, become more violent and dark. I mean, you get that like right when the first scene where some dude gets eaten, and it's not like just he's eaten. Like they show him brutally getting torn apart by this Indominus Rex, and I was just kind of shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's like there's maybe a few scenes in like the first Jurassic Park films. But like
Well,
this
the first one starts with somebody getting eaten. You just
well,
don't see
you don't
him.
see it, but like this one, they
No,
show it, and I'm like,
See,
oh
to
my
me,
gosh.
that other one, there was more anticipation because you weren't seeing it. You
Yeah.
were just hearing the noises, and they're all struggling
Which-
to get him out of there.
Which I think
Yeah.
is what I kind of liked is that they really heightened the kind of the
Gore factor
the
is
gore
this
factor.
one.
Yeah, like that's usually when I think dinosaurs and people like it's not happy. Okay, it's like someone's getting eviscerated like horribly. I mean if you read like
I
the
want
first
violent, bloody
oh
death
my gosh, if you
and
read the
lots
first
of it.
like the first Jurassic Park book, I got done reading it like a couple months ago, and I really like this book is gory. Like it's pretty legit. Like why weren't the movies like this? And this movie kind of almost delivered on that aspect of like we're gonna up the violence and make it a little bit more brutal.
There's
you
more
know?
violence in my opinion.
And so yeah, I would say like that was kind of one of the things I did enjoy. But like if we're talking about the director, one of the things too I was thinking about it was that there were no real sense of awe in this film. Where in the first two, even the second like Lost World, like there were senses like when you saw a dinosaur on screen, you just got this sense of like wow. like this thing is like a dinosaur. You
What
know?
about the shark eating
I
dinosaur?
didn't get that. Like that was like they kind of spoiled that in the trailers. Like
Yeah.
that was like the main thing for the trailer. So really, it's nothing to like make you go like, oh wow. Like I mean, in Jurassic Park, the first time you see the brontosaurus, like the most boring of dinosaurs, is just a long neck dinosaur, and you just kind of sit back and maybe it's just because the help of the score from John
But
Williams.
is that a fair comparison though? Because that's the first. That's pretty much the first time any
something
of us
big
saw
like that, yeah.
dinosaurs. You
Just
know
like
what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Mason said,
I would
for
say, I mean,
cinema.
I would kind of, kind of say, yeah, it should be because I mean, if you're going to claim the mantle of Jurassic Park and say this is a Jurassic Park film, you need to wow us with the dinosaurs. You know.
Well, maybe that brings us to the next point too. Is this a one-note franchise? Because I feel like this movie's basically a remake of the first one.
It pretty much is. I mean,
Which I didn't mind. It's been enough time. If they're going to restart a franchise, then do something like this where it's a soft reboot, basically, because
Yeah.
it's kind of a sequel. But, I mean, they're basically doing the same movie over again because, like we said before, it is pretty silly that they would build the same park in the same spot.
Well, they even
again.
made that joke in the movie where some
You know,
guys
and-
wearing
Yeah.
a Jurassic Park shirt and like, really, you're going to
Yeah.
wear that right now?
Poor taste.
Poor taste.
died.
Yeah, people died. You know, but on the one note franchise, I mean, I think if they're gonna isolate the movie on just the islands, then yeah. But like this movie introduced a different theme that the other movies didn't, which was the second thing that I enjoyed was they kind of turned Jurassic Park into a war zone, which is another thing I always wanted to see, like dinosaurs fighting people, people fighting dinosaurs. Like you have guns, there's a dinosaur, shoot it. Like stop running away from it, okay? And this movie actually is finally,
Yeah, but I would argue they don't do
Yeah.
that because they go into battle and
run.
they've all got like electric guns or something.
yeah.
And
the first battle
shockers
they do,
and-
but the second battle they
Oh
actually
my
start
god!
bringing
Don't get me started on
firearms.
Chris Pratt's like pea shooter where he's wandering around like, pew, pew, pew.
Well, the other dudes have like assault
and it's
rifles
like
and all
doing
this
nothing.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't use any of it.
Well,
I guess
look
was
at
my
this
problem,
idiot
but-
right now, like with the shotgun shooting the Indominus. We're like,
Pointing at Nick
that's
for a
really gonna,
second. It's
like that's really gonna stop it, dude. Just pepper his tongue a little bit.
What
You'll be
was what
fine.
was that,
It's my
Shannon?
Red Ryder BB
I
gun.
thought he was pointing at you instead of the graphic.
It's like what? You called me an idiot? Yeah, we're just gonna fight.
But
No, that's all.
But kind of back to what I was saying. Like
Yeah.
they kind of introduced a different theme with this movie by turning the dinosaurs into weapons almost, and that's kind of
Okay,
where
yeah.
I'm hoping they go on with this film and say, okay, we're done with the island. We spent 3-4 films on this island on both sites, on Site A and Site B. So let's get off this island. Let's start doing something else. Let's take these dinosaurs and whether you want to call it Jurassic Park or whatnot, but let's do a little bit something different. Let's throw these in the field with
Warfare.
like in warfare. So
If
that's
they
kind of
run
something.
With that, I'm gonna be so angry. So
Really?
livid.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's some- that
let
was
it
kind of-
die. Let the I can't believe I'm saying this. Let Jurassic Park die.
Well, I want something with.
Please,
But
let
I guess
it
my
die.
thought is like,
Don't do
if they get off the park, I think it can get a little bit better because every time it's like you're on an island with dinosaurs. We get it. You're gonna die, okay? Like someone's
we
gonna
know-
run away from a
We
T-Rex.
know everything's not going to go
Like
right.
let's have someone with an assault rifle taking a T-Rex down, okay? Well, it's like invading a village of.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, if they go into the world, is it even going to be fair anymore? Like, I mean, they're-
That's the beauty of it, man.
Well, I mean, they're
It's
dinosaurs.
not fair.
Like, we're humans. I mean, we'll. It's like they'll kill a few people, yeah, but as soon as like the actual military of any country gets word, depending on how big they are, it's like over. Oh, they killed those dinosaurs.
And then they turn around, and then the dinosaurs fight all the humans, and then you have like a
You
planetary
have
war.
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes with
I think is what
dinosaurs.
you're
Nah,
trying to
you
have.
hop
So-
over that. You do
I
biological
I must be the only one
warfare,
that likes
zombies,
this, but I'm
baby.
just like, shut up with the zombies.
You
okay?
are-
no, that's
you're
kind of
the
the
person who likes this.
Zombie Jurassic
Well,
World Park.
I don't know whether I like it or not, but I did kind of follow that same path of the second one's going to be them weaponizing them, the third one's going to be
Well,
two
and this whole-
forces facing off with both
Well-
having dinosaur armies.
Well, this whole film, like,
Cool.
Well, the original concept of this film was they're going to start. Yes! Like, you see him, how excited I am. Like, this
Something
movie.
come out.
This movie
I thought
just
you would be
just
excited about that.
Just scratched the surface of what a dinosaur war could be, and now that like
It's
now
like-
That's what
just
the next one's gonna
scratch,
be
just a
called,
little
Jurassic
scratch.
Park Dinosaur War.
That's it.
Yep.
All
That's
no,
what
it's just
it's
called
called, yeah.
dinosaur. Just
No,
Jurassic
Jurassic
War.
Thank you,
Civil
Kurt.
War.
The one thing I'll agree with Kurt
Jurassic
on
War.
Jurassic
Sell a
War.
million
No.
seats.
It's
Oh
like
my gosh.
they went
Million.
to your fan fiction, John, and
It's-
pulled it out right out of it.
It's like they just pulled it right out of my brain. But I'm
I
already
knew it.
I'm excited, so I just lost
the
track.
Velociraptor Raptor, the T-Rex would just get together.
But no, so like, because the original concept of this film was they were gonna splice DNA with humans and dinosaurs and have these like humanoid dinosaur soldiers kind of, which at first I was
almost
like,
feel like that's a jumping the shark moment for this franchise.
Oh,
They
yeah.
do
Well,
that
that's
now.
like- well,
it
that's
is
why-
cool. I want to see that movie,
So do
but
I.
just make a different movie.
but that's
Don't
what
call it
that's the first
Jurassic
thing I
Park.
said. I was like, that's not a Jurassic Park film though. That's like a Turok movie or like something. It's
Yeah.
like a video game from like the old Nintendo 64 days where they.
But that's
had
what
that
I'm
kind of
saying.
stuff.
Is this just a one-note franchise? Because I don't.
God, I hope so. I
And
hope
I'm
so.
not being paid millions of
I
dollars
really
to
hope
make
so.
movies.
Well,
so
yeah,
I mean,
and-
but what's my word?
When
But
you
I
say-
can't think of another way to
But, like,
spin
it-
this franchise other than what that idea you just had, or Dinosaur War, which I don't
Yeah.
think is terrible.
I don't think.
idea at
I
all,
think it'd be
but
just probably the best movie. I mean, if they
The
did it
best movie
right,
ever
it'd be the
made,
best
yeah.
movie ever made. It'd
There
be better
was a
than Avengers.
Dinosaur War. Did you
it would
watch
make
this movie?
Citizen
There
Kane
was
look
one.
stupid.
It, exactly. Like, but see, I'm getting tremors because I'm just,
Rosebud, more
John's
like
getting
whatever,
shaky.
whatever.
I'm just
Rex.
I bought like so many of these like Jurassic World Legos. I'm just straight up going to go home and just like forget the play sets. We're building.
guys, I'm
He's
going to
gonna
play
be
We're
like
Lego.
building
alone in his room with
tanks.
Legos, just
We're
shoot
building
them.
tanks and we're putting
Dinosaurs.
guns on top of these dinosaurs. And we're just gonna have them just going at each other. Oh my gosh.
When you say one note franchise, do you mean will there'll be another movie or will there be another good movie?
Is there another storyline to go other than
God,
man conquers the splicing genes, man creates dinosaur, dinosaur destroys park. That's the
Dinosaur
that
eats man,
seems
woman
like,
inherits the
yeah,
earth.
Right. Thank you. I'm glad you pulled that one. But
welcome.
well, that's what I mean.
Booyah.
Like this movie, huge success. First movie, huge success. Second
The
two,
middle, we're
kind
not-
of were tapering off.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind the storyline of the third one. The second one, I just think is a garbage movie. But
The third one or second
the
one?
second one.
Second.
Yes. When they went to
But,
like the Godzilla stuff at the end, I was like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a very good movie, I didn't think. So it's like, are we just out of? Is there no other good idea here to bring dinosaurs to the
That's what-
modern
that's
world
what I
other
thought.
than
I'm
they
like-
create a park? I think that was obviously the cool part about it.
Yeah.
And is there another cool idea to be had?
Well, it's
I
like
mean-
it,
or is
sorry,
this
go on.
basically
No,
going to
it's you.
be Terminator 3, 4, 5, and 6, where they keep pranking them out trying to make a cooler Terminator than the T2, but it's just not going to happen, or the T2 1000?
I mean, I find it hard to believe, like, if there are dinosaurs in like an amusement park, why aren't there dinosaurs everywhere else?
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause they-
clearly we have the technology, and not one scientist was like, oh, maybe we should, like, I don't know.
Maybe it's highly under
Maybe
wraps.
let's do highly under wraps. It's an amusement park.
Well, I mean, look at the first movie. They had to steal off the Barbasol can because no one had anything. This movie was
Okay.
even the same way, where they're like stealing these trade secrets to,
So dumb.
so they can have dinosaur war. Okay, so
But I mean, I would say I don't know. It just it seems like I want to see some Flintstone stuff go on here. I want to see them like.
powered
What does that
cars.
even
Well, not that. Like, I want to see like dinosaurs like doing jobs that we don't need them to do just because dinosaurs are fun. Like that's the thing.
Like having children ride them like horses.
They were doing that.
That.
They were doing that.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like dinosaurs, like Pokemon. It should be like an everyday thing at this point, right? They're just like, oh, come on, Chuckles, let's.
Well, they
let's
kind
go
of
to
had
the
that. They
park.
had the
I don't
little
know.
kiddie park, which I
Well,
kind of
we just let
enjoyed.
tigers
Really?
run
I was-
free then. Like that's the argument you're making. Like let's just let every dangerous like zoo animal just run around. Let's have tigers just friggin' running around. Baboons are ripping people's faces off. Like, what's gonna happen? That's what you're saying right now.
What's the worst that can happen?
Explain
Exactly
yourself.
the
Drop the mic.
But
Those
all right,
little
all right.
kids, I don't know,
Let's
it's
reel it back in here a little bit, and
I got too carried away with dinosaur war.
Yeah,
should we?
dinosaur war.
We're getting a little long in this review, so maybe we
Call a
should
mega review, man.
mega review.
It's
But,
dinosaur sized.
Exactly.
You got
Whoa.
a whole fifth person that makes it so much longer.
That's right.
yeah, that's
It's
pretty
my
much
fault.
it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's totally your fault. So let's jump over to spoiler zone and let's get into a couple of these issues we've kind of hinted at, but didn't get to yet. So
favorite
here
zone.
we go. Spoiler zone. And we're back.
You guys are nerds.
He's
Wasn't
so
that
proud of
awesome?
himself right now. Look
But
at him.
That's pretty
anyway,
awesome.
let's jump back to what was
Can
our
I
first
call
main
dibs on the
spoiler.
last 20 minutes, please? Can I synopsis? Like,
I'm just-
I
You can have the
already need a
last,
synopsis for that.
3
All
minutes.
I'm gonna say is that that's the third part of my favorite part of this movie was the last 20 minutes of the movie. So
Wait a minute.
the big dino fight. That's pretty much what made the movie. For me.
After the big dino fight, that movie. It was terrible. That was the worst movie of it. If you just after the dinosaurs fight, if you had just taken that movie was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It was,
What, the last 5 minutes of the movie?
like pretty much,
Where
yeah.
they're all like were they all recuperating? And
Yeah,
that stuff?
in,
Oh,
the,
okay.
in the thing, yeah. That was
They should just ended it after the dinosaur fight.
Yes, they
should
should
just
have
went
just like
credits
oh,
right after.
Done movie. Ugh.
I think the last 5 minutes was my favorite part of the movie.
Well,
'cause
you're
that's
wrong, 'cause
where
that's
the characters had their deepest arcs. And
We need
yeah,
to
it was
survive.
good.
And pork and survive. That's pretty much what you're
Oh
saying.
my god.
All right, so the Indominus Rex, is that the natural progression of these films as the bad guy, or is this like I said, the Terminator factor coming in again, where I'm
The
sorry,
scientists are
the
the bad
Terminatrix
guys. Yeah,
was
exactly,
just
yes.
not
Yeah.
as cool as the T-1000, and basically no other Terminator in the movies later are as good as the one from Part 2. So
Yeah.
is this franchise hurting from the same thing, where it's like they just keep making a bigger dinosaur with more stuff and longer arms?
It'll
know
be
what I
the,
mean? And
the
like,
giant underwater thing will
teeth.
grow legs.
are they doing
this
that or
time.
not? Or did I don't know, Kurt? Did you find the dinosaur to be scary?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I thought it has a little more for me, and this is what goes back to our critics argument we had. See, what I thought this had more tension than the first one, but that's personal opinion. I mean, not good action sequences, but I felt like I was more tense in this one than I was in Jurassic Park 1.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I
Wow.
honestly,
no, I
could
agree
say
with you
that.
too, Kurt. I think this had some very
No
tense.
friggin'
I didn't like
way.
the action set pieces as much, but it had some pretty intense scenes. Like there's some really
Well,
good scenes in this movie.
When Indominus Rex first gets out,
Mhm.
and we thought he was out in the first place.
that
And,
whole
you know,
scene,
Pratt
because you
rolls
know
under
he's
the
in
scene,
there.
Yeah.
We know he's in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
They don't, and that was, I thought, a pretty tense scene.
And
I
then-
really liked Pratt's opening scene where he's doing the thing with the dinosaurs and the kid falls in.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
has to
yeah,
like
yeah,
split
yeah.
second run underneath. I thought that was a
'Cause think about that.
fantastic
The
opening
second
scene
you
for
fall,
Pratt.
The second you fall, I mean, I'm feeling for that guy. I'm thinking, oh,
I feel for the
no.
Oh, I didn't care about him, but once Pratt goes in there, then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute.
Well,
We can't get Star-Lord.
If I'm
Andy,
that,
Andy.
if I'm that guy, if I'm that guy, and I'm the second I even go over the rail just a half, I'm already terrified.
Yeah.
And I'm as he's falling, I'm like, I know what's going through his head.
I think that's when the
This
film
is
works
gone.
the best, is when it's dialing up that tension
Yeah.
on characters that you actually like. And I actually enjoyed every character in this film at the start. Well, maybe they're not the boring two kids that are
Yeah.
cliche like
Yeah,
Mason was
pretty
saying,
much,
but I really liked Pratt, and I really thought they did. I'm not saying these are groundbreaking characters,
no,
Mason.
no.
I know you were the one that just really didn't like these cardboard characters. I mean, they're obviously big Hollywood characters, but I thought they added some warmth there. I really liked what the director did with them to kind of introduce them, the writers, how they brought them into the story.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked, I don't have his character name. I do have his actor name, which I'm going to destroy
Is
again.
it Marsani?
You know,
The
it's
guy that played-
Irfan Khan.
Yeah.
He's like the
He's the new John Hammond.
He should have
Marsani.
been in there
The dude
more.
that hung out
He
with
was
He
the
should
best
have.
one of
Pratt's
the movie.
character.
yeah, I was so
I
mad
don't know.
when he
I
blew
kind of
up.
enjoyed the fact that he was gone. Like he just like
I thought he was great. He came in. He was like, it's like, oh, we're gonna have an all new Hammond. This is the Hammond that understands the mistakes of the old Hammond. You know what I mean? He had some really cool philosophies he kind of jumped into, and that's why I really like the first third, because
Yeah.
there was his ideas there were interesting, and
Yeah.
Jurassic Park 1's the best when the characters are sitting around talking philosophy with each
Yes.
other. One of my favorite scenes is when they're having dinner.
oh yeah.
Yes.
And they're all disagreeing with Hammond, and they're
Yes.
talking about these issues of, do we have the right to recreate these dinosaurs? Should we mix them back in? You know, and there's a lot of interesting ideas in the
Yes.
first movie. I thought they tried to go for that in this one, and then they just third of the movie happens.
It's kind of
And
just
they
threw
just-
it out.
Well, that's what happens when the Indominus Rex gets loose. You just lose everything, and
Well-
everything is flying in the air. And you're just
yeah,
like, oh
I guess
no.
there's an argument for that.
Philosophies to not
Yeah,
die.
there's-
That is-
but
Yeah,
more logic.
Perfect.
Let's
yeah.
jump to Shannon. You looked like you highly disagreed with Kurt and I about there being
Oh my
intense
God.
scenes in this
there
movie.
is not. There are no words. By comparison to the first one,
Yeah.
saying that there's more tension in this one,
Yeah.
no way.
That's how I
no
feel.
way.
And I'm
No,
sticking to
you're
it.
Wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with more tension, but I think there are very tense scenes that at
There's-
least
There
come
are tense
close to
scenes, but
matching
the-
some.
There's-
Oh, still no.
See, this one had me.
No,
This
not
one had
even
me
close.
more scared than the first one.
This one had a.
What?
This one did
You
have a.
missed
Yeah.
something in childhood then.
I was about to say yeah. 'cause the
I was a
first
brave
one-
child, I guess.
The first
I
one was
don't think
just
so.
like the scene where like the T-Rex is just like staring on top in the first one. We were staring on top of the glass roof and just busts in with the kids, and like the only thing separating him was like a thin
Well, the
piece of
kids
glass.
lured him over there with the flashlight anyway.
Well, that was scary, okay? Because
what's she gonna get?
But I will say there is a scene in this movie where I thought was tense is when the babysitter chick fell into the big pool.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was just kind of like,
Oh,
what's going to happen? Like, I just
And
knew
what
instantly where it was going to go.
See what I'm saying?
That was like the most ridiculous. Like I was absolutely like I don't get disgusted by things in movies. Like upset. I was upset when the dinosaurs attacked the public. Like this was because our hero was the one that made the choice. That's the scene I was
every
talking
single
about
second of it,
earlier,
dude.
where I'm like. Seriously, like these dinosaurs are tearing children and people apart. You know what I mean? And it's
No,
just
it's-
like, why?
it's
This
glorious.
is just bad decision making
Well,
by.
then she abandons the control room.
She
in
just
the middle
abandons
of the
them.
crisis. She's like, gotta go
And
get my
nobody
nephews.
does anything. It's like, oh, big dinosaurs are flying in to eat everybody. Somebody tell them, everybody go inside. Repeat, everybody go inside. And then we are like supposed to just like, oh, here you go. Here comes some dinosaur carnage. Oh, this,
Swoops down and steals a
How'd that go
baby.
again?
In
Why
fairness,
not?
this woman's going to get what she deserves because she didn't watch a couple of brats. And then she gets torn apart. In what world does the director sit down and make the decision that we're going to spend time
It was
watching
satisfying
this
is what
poor
it was.
woman get
That's-
torn apart? Satisfying for what?
Because you got dino carnage. That's
She's
what's wrong with that.
no.
Like,
It was like on a creative
because
decision.
it's a person that you're introduced to. That's somebody that is
That
you
is
know
what?
Well,
watching the kids, man.
It's a metaphor.
Right, but
For,
are we supposed to
Well-
feel bad that she died, or are we supposed
I
to like,
guess.
yeah,
I
she
think it
didn't
was just
babysit him
supposed
well
to
no,
be
I
enough?
think we're
like-
supposed to feel bad that she died. Like that, I think that was the point of it.
Yeah,
And-
but was there really
I
the
think it was
need to
just-
show her like graphically get ripped
Yes.
apart?
Absolutely.
Why was
Well-
that not saved for? And then we get cut away from when Vincent D'Onofrio's legitimate bad guy gets torn apart. Like
that
we
would've
get a
been-
cutaway scene
that
from
would have been
that,
an
but we
R-rated
get
film
to
instead of a PG-13.
but we get to see the babysitter get eviscerated. What
She just
like
was just-
what
it
were
was
the
just a
choices
clump,
on
just
this?
like
yeah,
this.
she got
Yeah.
swallowed.
She just got
'cause
swallowed.
He swallowed the.
So she could come back.
She got
she could have made it.
first
she
she
could
got
have
chewed
toy.
up.
Toy.
She got chewed up by here's my
Oh, yeah, she got pecked
The
out.
pteranodon coming
She
out.
got chewed up by that, spit into the water,
That
and
was
then a big
intense for me.
dinosaur like eats her. That was very graphic. Like
I thought it was so
I was
cool.
like disturbed by that scene, and I watched some of the nastiest crap and never get disturbed by stuff.
Wow.
On the fact that these dinosaurs came in, just eviscerated families basically, and we were shown it.
It's because you're a family man, Nick. That's all it is. Like
No,
as,
it's
for
why
me, as for me, I just
the
I
film
enjoyed every single
specifically
second of
turns
it.
away when the bad guy gets killed later, and then makes a hero out of the woman that
So,
that
are you-
murdered those families in the first
So are you
place.
saying that this movie's making a ploy that bad guys are just okay dudes?
No, I just think they were kind of incompetent in their in their creative decisions in this film. You could have set her up as being somebody really bad or doing something with that character that would have easily made me
Or at
feel
least
better
maybe
Well, I
that she
think-
got
like
torn apart or
sacrifice
something.
Rather than talking on the phone and hey, I
Well, I
found
think
him.
maybe that's just part of this the really kind of the bad writing to this film, you know, where they
Yeah.
try to make you feel for this person, feel bad for this person, but towards the end you're just like, I don't know how to feel because this innocent person got eaten by the mosasaur, and what's the point? Like, what was the point of them even being in the movie then, except for dino fodder, you know? So I mean, that's kind of there's a lot of other portions in this film where the writing is just you're like, there's no point in that person's character. I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard's character, the main heroine of the movie, is by all stanchions she's a bad dude, but for some reason she's an okay person at the end of the movie, you know, where.
Yeah, I don't think they thought about it. I don't think
I
that
think
was
they
a
just-
choice.
yeah,
I think
exactly.
they just didn't think about the fact that by her allowing the people to stay on the island and not evacuating and then never coming back to that decision again, by extension, she's murdered all those families. She is like a horrible
But they may have
person,
signed a waiver, so
basically.
it's really not her fault.
No,
Hey,
good.
anytime.
She'll be back in the season.
anytime I'm-
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If I'm an
Brad's back.
intern, if I'm taking a job there, I know there's a chance I'm gonna die. There's at least a slight chance
As long
I
as
could
you
die.
know, Kurt, that's okay.
I want to know, like, what's the scene? Okay, the kids leave. The kids went out on their little gyro ball thing, and the guy working there is like this, like teenage, like someone you see at like a like Adventureland or like Six Flags or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, there's no way that's who they allow to work and run these
Well, yeah,
rides,
someone
right?
that
like,
incompetent
Well,
where
yeah, he's
though.
like, oh, everyone's got to go inside. This is not a drill.
I just work here.
Excuse me, people. You need to go outside. Well, why?
I think that was to raise the tension on the scene that they. I think it's supposed to point at the fact that they weren't fully prepared for what's happening, much like in the first movie, which you'd think they would be since it's happened before.
well,
but I think they're trying to highlight
It's been 10 years.
the fact that they've got
it's been about
teenage,
20 years, actually.
Yeah.
They've been in business for 10 years.
the same
and
kids
they
that
haven't had
work at
something this bad.
Adventureland work at this park, and that's kind of I think what they were highlighting. So I
Yeah.
understand that, but
This wasn't the first year of the
why
park.
we spent time on it, I don't know. But
I want to know. Okay, this is just really kind of the gyro balls. I didn't like those only for the fact that they're going through massive
balls,
plots
okay.
of dinosaur poo, and they're just like
Did you
so
see that?
clean.
Did you see that meme of like the? It's
The meme?
There's like a meme of like the gyrosphere, and like there's like a stegosaurus taking a dump, and then like the
Mason
meme
doesn't
right,
like your meme.
the meme right after is like a big like
that
crap
old?
streak
Is that
right
out?
on the gyrosphere.
Yeah.
No, I'm just a hipster. No.
Okay, whatever.
Memes.
All right.
No, I didn't see that, but I
Alright.
definitely get it because that's what I was like. Why is there no poo all over these crystal
It's
balls?
because those teenagers from Adventureland have to clean that.
That's
That's what they hire them
That's
for.
why
all
they're
right,
so
well, you
depressed
guys
all
and
the
your
time.
poo obsession aside, that there was no
Poo.
poo in the film. I guess there was a lot of poo in the first film, so.
And
So
third.
Let's jump to the end of the film and try to wrap this up because Shannon wants to spend 20 minutes on it.
No,
so
I
I
don't
think
want to spend 20 minutes. I want to
on the last 20
minutes.
minutes.
Like,
Okay, well, let's start with you then
Yeah.
and talk a little bit about what is really getting stuck in your craw right now about this last 20 minutes.
The crawl.
So when they all start fighting, all the dinosaurs, here come the velociraptors, here comes the Andromedus Rex. It's like the backyard wrestling version of dinosaur fighting is what I saw
It's
this as.
glorious.
They're just all over each other. Like, they get the T-Rex to fight the Andromedus Rex, and then here comes Bryce Dallas Howard with a flare getting the T-Rex to run after her in heels, which is more terrifying than fighting a dinosaur.
Which
I don't know
also-
if
Hey,
you've
that's
ever
not-
worn heels. It's not easy.
Also,
You'll die.
Bryce
You
Dallas
will die.
Howard has to be like probably one of the fastest human beings because in the first movie the dinosaurs clocked at like 40 miles an
35
hour,
miles an
35
hour,
miles an
when
hour.
hungry, yep.
So if she's running over 35 miles an hour
Yeah.
in high heels, she deserves an award.
That's
Yeah,
the
I
only
want to
problem
stick up
I
for the
had.
film here. I feel like we've been pretty hard on it. We've picked out a lot of its flaws and stuff
Oh, I
like
love
that.
it.
But this is a point where I think the movie got fun. I think they missed a huge opportunity to build a Spielberg-esque kind of layered big action sequence because
Yeah.
the humans have
Yes.
nothing to do in this last scene, and it's kind of a shame. There should have been more emphasis on them trying to get out. All they do is run in a corner and like, "Ah!" and then the dinosaurs go. But
Then
I
they
did
crash
not
into it, and then they went
see.
to another corner, and
the
they crash
T-
into that corner, and then they
Yeah.
just do it in a circle until it's over.
I was legitimately surprised by the T-Rex showing up. I didn't
Really?
know what that was doing until
I
she
knew
like
that was
showed
gonna
up with the
happen.
flare, and I'm like, the T-Rex! They need more teeth. I liked that line for some reason where the kid said we need more
Really?
teeth or whatever.
That was the
Loved
worst.
it.
I thought that was a
line
little
in
cheesy.
Great
history.
line.
How
Great
do you
line.
measure teeth like Chris Pratt's
Hold on.
Red Rider?
The worst line in that
Because
the worst
in a
line,
dinosaur
He's
fight,
like,
Yeah,
need
that's
more
not the
teeth.
worst line.
I was gonna say,
this kid just like
that is
I know what
definitely
you're-
not the worst line because
I
the
know
worst
what
line
you're
is
gonna
like
say.
it's called Transformium. Okay, that's the
No.
worst line ever. All right.
Yeah.
The worst line is when he's like, I don't know. It depends on what they cooked up in that lab.
that was pretty bad.
It might have been what's the dude from
Well, it
New
definitely was not. I got his name here. Yeah,
Nick something is his character.
Girl?
in
Yeah, New
Girl.
Girl guy.
Jake
yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, he. I love him. He's super funny. I
thought he
wanted
was fun in this
to
movie, too.
murder his actor. Oh,
His actor, or
his
His
character.
character.
Sorry, his character.
God, you homicidal.
I thought he was fun in this movie. I liked his
I-
addition to the film, and
At first
he brought,
I did.
like,
At first I
some
had
needed
the
humor.
shirt, but then he just had no grasp of when to get serious. Like, fine, he's wearing the shirt. That's fine. Not everyone cares. He wasn't probably there when the first thing all broke up. But then as it went on, I was like, all right, stop making comments. Just shut up, Jake Johnson.
Yeah, but he's the plucky comedy person
love-
in
Yeah,
a big
but,
budget
like-
movie. That's what he's there for. I liked him. I liked
Yeah.
that character. I
Like,
liked
it-
that Trevenant brought him back from Safety Not Guaranteed. He was
It-
the main character in
It
that
might
too.
not
Much
even have been
better
his character. I think
but
the only reason I hate him so much is the scene where they're talking about product placement in the park,
Mhm.
and there was a clear reference to the product placement in the actual movie, and he was like, "Oh, you're just gonna take that money from companies? Why don't you just call it AT&T presents whatever, Verizon presents whatever?"
Really? I
And
like
I'm like,
that.
"Shut up!"
He had a good point.
Like, don't do that.
He's
He didn't
bringing
have
up a good
it wasn't a good
comedy
point.
bit that
Like,
has
it
not
would've
been
been a
seen on
good
screen. The
point.
fact that
Ding,
we have
ding,
to
ding,
call
go at it.
That
Okay,
was
here we
just
go.
every single stadium in America now AT&T
Yeah,
Stadium
he's
is a
right.
hilarious joke
And
that he's
it
bringing
would've
that up
worked
in a
if,
dinosaur movie.
But that was just the movie going like, "Oh, some people are gonna hate us if we don't point out that we have so much product placement because we have tons of product placement. What do we do? Oh, let's make one line where a guy says something bad about product placement,
Yeah,
and
but
then
they
we'll just
didn't
fill it with
have,
product placement
like,
after
just
that."
ridiculous product placement where we changed this movie from Jurassic Park to Pepsi Park with dinosaurs.
Wait a minute, I just really want to drive a Mercedes-Benz right now. Like, I just really want to drive. So that's what it was, wasn't it? Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, they did have a pretty
every
clear.
every time a car would pull up, like, can I play with this? Every time a car would pull up, right? It'd pull up. The person would get out and walk around like that, and then it'd just zoom in on a giant
I don't mind
Mercedes-Benz
that. That's
right
paying the
here
bills.
for like an
paying the
hour.
bills.
That's paying
That's
the
how
bills.
this movie had all
Changing
the
a
dinosaurs
stadium
in it.
in the Quad Cities from the Mark of the Quad Cities to the iWireless Center. Seriously, what the hell are we doing? Like, come on. That's
like
that's
that.
the
It's a fun
worst
joke.
level of like selling out and putting advertisement into what makes your product or whatever. You know what I mean? Showing a car in there, I understand that's sucky, but at the same time, when your movie's $150 million, I kind of understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't, but what they didn't do is like, if they would have worked like Chester Cheetah into the movie somewhere as a character in the film, that I think would be to the level of what you're saying,
This is
and I do understand.
This is a leopard that produces cheese.
Yes,
We,
and he's a main character in this
we
film.
mixed him with a
Yes.
raptor
The
and
only
cheetah.
way-
Cheetos gave us $75 million. What do you think, guys?
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
But
let's do it.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not a big guy that I even saw that shot, and then 2 seconds later I was like, I don't care, because usually people call that out all the time, and I never notice it. So I'm probably not the best guy to to throw my hat in the ring on that, because I'll see it and there'll be Coke stuff everywhere, and I'm just like, I don't care. As long as I'm with the movie and I like the movie, I don't really give a crap.
So what about to
Anyway, the final act, and John, why don't you go off a little bit, because I'm sure you've been waiting for this
oh
all
my
week
gosh,
to
yes.
talk about
Oh my gosh,
the
yes.
dinosaur throwdown
Oh
that
my
Shannon
gosh.
thought was a backyard.
That was my
backyard
that
brawl.
was my third reason why this movie was. I love this movie and just washed away all the crap that was behind it, because I mean,
Wait, take us back through the other two reasons.
the first one was that the movie would realize that it's not Jurassic Park and completely.
It realized that?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
when it goes into the point.
Let's
when,
not distract from the idea. Go ahead to the
Okay,
second.
sorry.
I'm
And then
sorry,
the
my fault.
next
I'm
one
an
is that they
argumentative.
turn Jurassic Park into pretty much a war zone, and then the dinosaur fight.
Okay, I was close. I had dinosaur fights, dinosaur chasing people, park with dinosaurs in it. I was 1 for 3 on that. And I am happy with that.
I was close. I had dinosaur chases. I had I had people dying, and then I had a dinosaur coitus scene, which did not happen. So I didn't get that one.
I thought it was.
Thought that was
the
really
one
what John
boob,
was wanting.
The second boob,
No.
and then the dinosaurs fighting. I thought that was.
All right,
the
we're
third.
ruining John's
But anyways, for the dinosaur,
dinosaur
fight,
love time.
Yeah, for my love time. Anyway, so for the dinosaur fight, I was kind of taken back by when they introduced the T-Rex, because I'm like, the T-Rex is really going to fight the Indominus Rex. The Indominus Rex has claws that grabs people and eat them, but the T-Rex has little thingies. So, and then I kind of like how they kind of worked the T-Rex's his features, like his giant head, by like
His
bashing.
strong acid, yeah, his strong acids.
Yeah, by bashing into. See, that's an awesome photo. But bashing into the T-Rex, and then kind of, I kind of called it. I was like, "Oh, T-Rex is gonna die," and then I was like, "Oh, well, he's down for the count." And then out of nowhere, the Velociraptor comes in, which they have this huge heroic scene for the blue Velociraptor, like this whole like just awesome just shot of like dun, dun, pretty much like Superman coming in to save the day, and then the T-Rex comes in out of nowhere, and then they start fighting again, and then there was this huge standoff towards the end where I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like, is this the end of the movie? Like, is he just gonna walk away? Like, I understand, I'm not a bad guy.
Shannon,
And then,
you got that look on your face.
and then
right
out
now,
of
but
nowhere,
just to let you know, I'm just letting John go because he's wanted this movie for a long time.
I'm so sorry, Shannon. If you want to finish off, I'll let you finish. Okay.
No, it's too late.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyway, so back to what I was saying. So then out of
Anyway, let me finish.
He's
then
not
out
really
of
sorry.
nowhere, here comes the giant sea creature, grabs the Indominus Rex, rips it in, and I'm pretty sure I was just like screaming like a little kid, like, "Oh my god!
Yeah, I didn't see
Freaking
that
out.
coming, John. I didn't
totally
see
did not.
the T-Rex thing coming until right before either. Did you?
See, I
did you
did.
call that one? Like when when my favorite comment was made about we need more teeth, and
Yeah.
she's like, we need more teeth.
I didn't
Like
see
she
for
figures
some
it
reason-
out and then she runs
Well,
off. I
'cause-
was like, well, where the hell is she going to get more teeth? What does that mean? Is she
Because
coming
for
come out? Is this going to be the end of Aliens? Only she's going to come out in a robot like dinosaur? Like get away from her!
Well, for some reason, because they said like the T-Rex is going to be in the movie, and I've only seen it. You only see like a fraction. I'm like, oh, really? That's what they're going to say for the T-Rex in the movie. And then when she said more teeth, I still had no idea what they were doing. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh, like the T-Rex is coming.
Yeah, once she popped the flare, I was like,
then you see his
"Alright."
eyes. You
I
see
mean,
his
I
eyes
know it's
coming.
cheesy and it's going to be a
Well,
backyard
but the backyard
brawl,
brawl,
like
but, like,
Shannon
I
said
think-
about the.
She's still mad. I'm so
Synapses
sorry,
out.
Shannon. I really am.
But yeah, I did enjoy it, and I thought it was fun. I did feel legitimately bad when the T-Rex was down, and
So
then,
did I. I was
just
like,
completely
no!
surprised when the thing wails out of the water. And
Oh
just
my
eats
gosh!
him, so
Like
that was
that's.
pretty
I think
fun.
that was kind of like the
Okay.
biggest payoff for me, just towards the end. I'm like, what are they gonna do? No way! And
Yeah.
see, I'm
The-
nerding out again right
but,
now. So I'm
all
so
right,
sorry.
well, let's go to final comments. Anybody have anything they kind of want to sum up for before we go out on this review? I think we've gone a little bit long, but I think
It's a mega
worth
review,
it.
man.
It was a
It's a
huge
dinosaur-sized
huge
review.
movie. So anything at all anybody wants to say? Nobody.
I still want to say
Nobody.
that I think this had more tension, in my personal opinion, than
Okay.
Jurassic Park.
Wait a minute. Okay. What about? Okay. There's only so many
You can't
times.
judge us, man. Like, I get terrified of different little things. So, I
Well,
mean,
I
what are you
get
guys
that,
trying to say
but
with
He's
this?
there's
afraid of
only-
women, so
there's-
there's so.
Yeah.
There's
It's
only
okay.
so many times that you can be huddled in a corner and a dinosaur's nose comes into view with its mouth,
That was,
then
there was
sniffs
only,
3 times, and then
Yeah.
freaks out. That
that
happened.
was my only one with that. Okay, and then the other one was when she fell in the water, and the other one's when the guy fell into the raptor cage,
And then the other
and
one.
then the other one would be, I guess, at the
There's
end.
like 4 other ones there.
Well, I just wanted to say,
Just kidding.
I didn't want to
maybe
make it
not
seem
the-
like it was like the only
Yeah,
things that
maybe
made
not
me
even
scared.
No,
the
and I get
most
that, but that's what I'm-
terrifying scenes, but like the whole raptor situation, I thought was a fun situation. I didn't
Yeah,
see
when
those
they turned
raptors
against
turning and communicating with the Indominus, and then
Ah, I
they,
thought it was
you
so
know,
I didn't get
Another
that. I
tension.
didn't
So that was
get
kinda
how you
interesting.
change alphas so quickly. They were like, oh no,
'Cause they
Chris
keep-
Pratt.
Well, when
she's
you
gonna
look,
be a real dinosaur.
Chris
right?
Pratt.
and
Well,
when
yeah,
you
but
see
then
the
at the
size
end,
of that
he-
thing,
Then at the end, he's like, oh, just kidding, Chris Pratt. Is that?
Yeah, that was
Shannon,
kind of-
Shannon, you said you'd follow Chris Pratt anywhere, right? Like, how did they just turn on Chris Pratt that fast? It's ridiculous. You can't do that.
I don't know. I'm not a dinosaur.
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it.
I'll tell you
But,
that
I
one.
totally wouldn't.
all right. Any last thoughts, Shannon?
Nope.
Anybody? Kurt?
no, I'm good.
Watch it if you
Got it?
really like Jurassic Park. If you didn't, don't. I don't know.
I
didn't
will
like
say that I was made fun of on the show. We'll put it in account that the scene in the trailer where Chris Pratt is riding the dirt bike with the Velociraptors. Everyone thought that was stupid. That probably was
I
probably
didn't
the
think-
coolest part in the movie. Am I wrong or not?
Well, when I first saw that plot point in the preview, I thought that was the silliest thing I ever saw, and it did kind of turn out to be one of my favorite parts. Was him training those dinosaurs, and that scene in the beginning and stuff like that. I wish they just. My biggest thing is I wish they would have just done more with the middle of this movie
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
expanded the action set pieces to be a little more complicated.
And action
I
sequences,
think
like you said.
I think like Mason's got a good point that fans of the film will watch it, but I think obviously it's box office shows a little more appeal than that too. I think if you're fans of big budget like adventure movies, family adventure movies, maybe I think that family thing's a little iffy.
I would very say
When the first time
there's
the
a lot of
Dominus
violence.
Rex came out and ate the guy, I
Like-
saw every kid in that theater jump into their parents' lap. Literally,
was-
like that happened.
Well, it was so
But-
graphic. I mean, you just see him take
Yeah.
a chunk out of the dude. That's
that's
what
like
I
a
was just like,
callback
It's a little
to,
scary,
the
but
first
I
one.
think it appeals to if you're a big, if you're into big mainstream cinema, then I think you're
If you
probably
like,
gonna
if
like
you watch
it.
the Marvels
There's
and
a
like the
lot to
Marvel
find.
movies, and you liked,
Dinosaurs.
I'd say
Yeah.
you'd
Go
probably
watch
like
it. You're
Go
gonna-
go watch it.
You're gonna
It's-
love it.
Yeah, this is our hipster on the
I don't hate
show,
it.
so.
Yeah, as much as I've said, I don't actually hate it. I just think it was.
He's going back on his
it
word.
was,
It's
It was
okay.
the
It's
worst.
okay.
Like
We
it
can-
was
we
the
can
worst
change
No,
kind of
no,
thing.
no, no,
It was
Mason.
mediocre. It was
You
mediocre.
said
It was
this was the
terrible.
Blues Brothers 2000 of sequels.
Yeah, it is.
Which
It-
to me, the Blues Brothers
it's just
2000
so-
is the worst movie probably ever made. Not only because it's the worst movie ever made, but because of what it symbolizes to one of the best movies ever made.
It's true. Yeah.
That was a bold
Yeah.
statement.
I don't
but,
know. It
I
was.
know, I'm just giving you crap.
It was. I don't know.
But he
it
means
just,
every single word of it.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes hyperbole helps to emphasize your point with a
Yeah.
movie this
We
huge
may
where
get
everybody's
we may get a
excited to
person
see it.
comment and just
I'm no.
harass
I'm
you,
just
by the
here
way.
so like if people commenting on this are just like I hate that kid.
I hate that
He
kid.
doesn't know anything. He's like
Why?
7.
Hipster,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
You guys, and then I'm not gonna be gone, and then they're just gonna love you guys. You're like, oh, thank God that dumb kid's gone.
And then we'll bring you back for part
Yeah,
2, you know,
exactly,
for the
yeah.
sequel.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mason, for being on the show. And I think it sounds like everybody kind of. Well, no, wait, Shannon, you were kind of on the fence about it, or where are you gonna come down to? I'm gonna go this way on. Where are you gonna come down to on this film if you have to choose? See it or don't see it?
Low expectations.
Low
if you're
expectations,
gonna see
okay.
it, have
Okay.
low expectations. Don't go in thinking it's gonna be
Okay, so Mason and
awesome.
Shannon not that blown away by it. Sounds like Kurt
liked it,
and
yeah.
John very blown away by it. I'm a little bit in between. I had some parts I really liked in it. So
It's got dinosaurs,
All right.
so that would have sold me anyway.
dinosaurs are good.
And that's
Alright.
what
Dinosaurs
settled
good.
it for me.
Well, we may have a new next show coming up next week. We may not, so I don't know when we'll be back again on here. There may be a chance that we try to pull a female-centric Magic Mike 2 episode. So
Oh boy.
Kurt,
it may
you
happen.
can go see it.
Oh,
we know you
boy.
like it.
Jen wants to do it,
I
so
want to come
I'm
back
in.
for that one.
Yep. Mason's already in.
Not because I'm gonna love it. Are you do 50 Shades of Grey too?
Oh God, yeah, that one was pretty garbage. That's a whole conversation in itself. But we'll compare. We'll also tomorrow we'll probably have up our terribly good segment. We'll continue as well with Shannon's pick on Beautician and the Beast. We'll be up tomorrow, and what else we got going on here? We'll also be coming up soon watching Fright Night, which is a film that Kurt liked, that he thinks is not the best
Terribly
movie in the world,
entertaining,
but
but
he
he
likes it
loves it.
anyway, so hence the terribly entertaining moniker on that. So we'll be watching that too coming up. If you like the show, want to watch more, check out NickGuyHarris, all one word, is the YouTube page. Otherwise, I've been researching this a lot, and you have to look up Quadcast, Quantum Quadcast, not Quadcast by itself, have you, but Quantum
Quantum
Quadcast.
Quadcast,
And
you will
it'll
find
bring
us.
up it'll bring up all the Quantum Quadcasts, and then you can find the page from there if you're interested in, say, like our new show, Pinteresting Foods, with that way with Shannon and John.
Johnny P.
No.
I need to move my shot over there.
Yeah.
But so check that out too, and I think that's it. Thanks for watching. John, take us out.
All right, and as for all of us here at the Quantum Quadcast, thank you for watching. And once again, always check out NickGuyHarris or just type in Quantum Quadcast, and you're going to
John,
find
I
us.
just covered that.
It's
Good
always
God.
a rehitter. You gotta
God.
get it right. Oh my gosh. Fine. Goodbye.
I'm Nick Harris.
I'm Kurt Sodak.
Shannon Farrier.
I'm a hipster.
And I'm John. See ya.
Bye.
He said goodbye.